A lot of realtors come to me and ask, what is the best social media platform from generating my business, real estate buyer and seller leads? Which platform should I use to grow my business? Now, what I want to do in today's video is actually create a tier list of different social media platforms for specifically the purposes of real estate agents generating actual buyer and seller leads. And so the first platform we're going to rank and the worst social media platform for real estate agents is going to be X, and this is formerly known as Twitter. Now, at our company, we've analyzed thousands of real estate agents' social media platforms, personally one-on-one, and we've actually looked into, okay, what are the things that generate real estate agents' results, and what are some of the things that don't generate real estate agents' results. And over the last 7 years, we've gotten a chance to talk to literally thousands of agents, and 99% of real estate agents that use X really don't get any clients from it, which is not to say that you couldn't make it work. I'm sure there's some real estate agents out there that is generating listings from there, but it's a lot harder. So in general, it's very, very unlikely that you would do so. And part of the reason why is because it's a real-time app where what you post is only visible really for a couple of hours. And generally, the audience in that platform is not necessarily always going to be the one that you want to go after. So when we're ranking these platforms, we're considering it through systems thinking lens. So meaning we want to look into specifically the relationship between the inputs, so what we put into the platform, and the output. So what do we get out of the actual platform? Meaning if we put in 100 hours of work, let's say, into a given platform, what is the expected output of that 100 hours? Like how many new leads do we generate? How many conversations do we generate? How many appointments do we generate? How many clients do we generate? And when we look at this, what is the time frame of getting those clients? So meaning if we do that given work of 100 hours, how long for will that work really produce those results that we want? Now, X is currently at the very bottom of this list, and the reason why is because of this input to output ratio. So there's a lot of work you have to put in with creating the actual tweets, and they're only visible for a couple of hours. So they're not something that's going to build a long-term sort of like lead pipeline to your business, but it's something that you have to be actively doing over and over again. And then also the outputs as far as like actual listing appointments and listings, it's not as good either. So because of that reason, we're going to rank X to the D tier category. Now let's next cover Instagram. With Instagram, we do see a lot of people getting real estate buyer and seller leads, but it's still not necessarily the easiest platform to be successful on. And the reason why is because the content type that works really well on Instagram is currently short form content, short form video content. So we have clients that some of them, as example, have created one Instagram reel and gotten themselves over 2 million views or 1 million views, and it can definitely get you a lot of followers right from the get-go if you create that viral reel. So as an example, one of our clients, she got around 4,000 new Instagram followers in a matter of a couple of days through that one content piece. Now, having said that, it is a very competitive platform. So if you are just starting out with social media, you haven't done a lot of content, right? It's not a platform where you're just gonna go into and start generating real estate buyer and seller leads right away, meaning there's a long learning gap when it comes down to the actual platform for learning the short form content as far as what you need to record, how do you record it, when do you record it, what topics are you going to be using, and then generally the tonality and the impression you give on the camera. So it's definitely also a platform that requires skills and requires for you to be able to compete against other real estate agents and other people when it comes down to that traffic. And of course, it is like more entertainment-based platform than many of these other platforms. So a lot of people, when they go on Instagram, they want to see something that's entertaining, something that's going to be more kind of like allowing them to have that dopamine hit when they are on that platform. So if you are not somebody that's like somebody who's able to entertain people or have more controversial topics or conversations, it can definitely be a little harder to succeed on this platform unless you're not used to that already. So because of that reason, we're going to rank it to the B category. It's definitely a platform that is definitely great. So there's a lot of homeowners, such as with all of these meta platforms on this platform. It's a mature platform, so it's been around for a while. There's a lot of users on this platform as well. But because of the skill gap, because of the competition, we're gonna rank it to the B tier. Now, let's go to the next platform, and now we're gonna rank LinkedIn. So with LinkedIn, you have a lot of people that are going to be in that higher price range. So if you are somebody that wants to attract CEOs, you want to attract business owners, you want to attract people that are kind of like in that corporate ladder, corporate world, LinkedIn is definitely a great platform to attract people like that. And so you have a lot more serious type of people on the LinkedIn, and the people that are on LinkedIn, they are already in sort of like more business, more like serious kind of like context. So people usually when they go on LinkedIn, they're not expecting to see, cat videos, or they're not expecting to see a lot of like entertainment, but it's more like serious, logical conversations. So if you are somebody that's also very logical, or maybe you have that corporate background, or maybe your market itself is more in that world, LinkedIn can definitely be a great platform to be successful on. Now, at the same time, with LinkedIn, we don't have as many users as far as active users. So meaning a lot of the people that are on Instagram on a daily basis, they watch 3 hours, 4 hours of short form content on Instagram. Those people are not often on LinkedIn consuming the content over there. So you do have a little bit of problem there as far as having a wide reach, but as far as like the reach you do get and the people that do reach out to you, they tend to be a lot more serious than any of these other platforms. Also, the benefit of LinkedIn is that people do use direct messages. So people do use that chat box on LinkedIn, and you can use connections there. You can also see what other people they're connected with as well. So typically LinkedIn is a great platform for those instances. Now, the user base is not as high, and so because of that reason, we're gonna categorize it to the C category, where you can definitely get great results from LinkedIn, but in general, it's not as likely as it is with, let's say, Instagram, where that is even better. Now, let's go over next, TikTok. So TikTok is a platform where it's been around for a couple of years now at this point, where people have been using TikTok. Now, there are some problems with TikTok going on right now that are kind of like potential threats with upcoming potential TikTok ban in the United States, which could actually wipe out the platform. So there are some threats around TikTok, but with TikTok, you can definitely build great brand awareness. So it's a lot easier to actually get traffic, get views on your videos compared to, let's say, Instagram over on TikTok. So with TikTok, it's a little bit easier to build brand awareness. Now, the downside of TikTok is, again, the user base. So generally, if people go on TikTok, they do want to see more entertaining content, and it is even more entertaining than, let's say, Instagram. So Instagram, there is slightly more kind of like educational opportunity there, or sort of like more serious opportunity there. As with TikTok, it is definitely, let's say 15-20%, even more on that entertainment base. Also, having said that, with TikTok, the algorithm is definitely great. So if you do create like a real estate video or create something around information, TikTok does have the ability to kind of target the content, I would say slightly better compared to Instagram. So there is that benefit, but at the same time, the user base is not nearly as wide, say, as far as homeowners compared to Instagram, just because Instagram, it is more mature, it's a more established platform, and it is a platform where, as an example, Facebook users have often transitioned as well. So we're gonna rank TikTok at the C category. Still great platform, still great amount of brand awareness that you can generate. But as far as actual real estate buyer and seller leads and conversations, it's not necessarily as good as, let's say, Instagram. So I'd say it's a very similar platform compared to LinkedIn, sort of like a niche platform where you can definitely succeed if you know the right type of content, if you are naturally fit to that platform. And the other downside with TikTok is generally that direct messages, so messaging people is not as common compared to Instagram. So on Instagram, you can generate polls, you can generate conversation starters, and from there you can get people to reach out to you, start a real estate conversation extremely easily. As with TikTok, it's a little bit harder just because people are not using the story functions, people are not using direct messages, people are not using these functionalities as far as the platform itself. So at least right now, those things are not something that a lot of people tend to do as far as the actual usage of the platform. So as far as you then actually starting the conversation or directing the traffic you do generate, it's a lot harder to actually turn that into a website or turn that into, let's say, some sort of poll answer or a conversation. On Instagram, it's a lot easier to actually turn that if you do happen to get those followers, do you happen to get those views coming in, right? On Instagram, it's a lot easier to now later convert that just because people tend to use those functionalities more. Now, let's cover next Facebook. So Facebook, I would say it is my favorite platform as far as real estate lead generation. Still to this day, most homeowners are still active over on Facebook. It's a platform that's probably the most established social media platform as of now. It's a platform that is the most used social media platform right now in the world. So it is a platform where for real estate businesses, Facebook is something that every business should learn and know how to use. Now, with Facebook, we're going to categorize this in two categories. There's going to be meta ads. So these are the ads you would run on Instagram, run on Facebook. And then we also have organic Facebook, which is going to be your personal Facebook profile, and then also a little bit of your business profile. But the main organic reach you'll get is going to be through your personal Facebook profile. So Facebook, the benefit of Facebook is generally that it's very quick to get you clients when you do it correctly. So for a lot of our clients, let's say compared to TikTok or compared to Instagram, right, there is that learning curve for real estate agents where they have to learn videos, they have to learn how to edit them, how to hook people in. It's a very competitive space. As with Facebook personal profile, it is something that you can get you reach right from the get-go by creating a very simple text and picture-based posts. So as far as being user-friendly or getting reach or getting traffic, Facebook definitely wins these platforms as far as ease of use. Now, with Facebook as well, the other benefit is just the demographic of the platform. So a lot of the homeowners, they do tend to be a little bit older, usually let's say in their 50s, in their 40s. And so because of that reason, a lot of times like Facebook is a platform where you can reach those homeowners and they're also easily findable. There are a lot of communities over on Facebook in terms of groups, so local homeowner communities, local communities just in general, and people are actually sharing different things about their community or sharing different topics, and there's a congregation of people on Facebook that you can easily find, which is again different from, let's say, Instagram or TikTok, where most of your targeting will be based on the topics of your videos, will be based on the content that you create. As with Facebook, you can just easily directly find these people. So because of that reason and because of the speed of as far as you start the platform and what you actually need to put in, Facebook, we're going to categorize to the S category, which is the best category out of all of these. And again, systems thinking wise, it's a very little time intensive platform. So you can spend less than around 2 to 3 hours per week to create your content over here, spend a little bit of time around answering people's messages, leaving your thoughts, and you can pretty much generate 1 to 2 listings per month by doing those things. You just got to know how to do that correctly. So Facebook, we're going to categorize to the S category. Now let's next cover organic YouTube. So YouTube is obviously a great platform if you are in a market where you have a lot of buyers coming in. Let's say you're in a market like Austin, Texas, or the Scottsdale area, like kind of like the Phoenix area, and you have a lot of people kind of like moving into your market. That's definitely a great platform for that. So it's also a great platform for buyers generation. So if you want to generate buyers, YouTube is definitely a great platform for that as well. Now, having said that, with YouTube, the only downside with YouTube is the fact that you do have a learning curve in there as well. But in addition to the learning curve, you do have sort of like the long-term platform you need to build. So if you're just starting out from the scratch as far as your YouTube channel goes, don't expect to use this platform and get a listing the next month. That's just not happening. So realistically, expect to wait around for 6 months before you get any transactions coming from your YouTube channel. I'm not saying that it's not possible if you have previous background in terms of real estate, previous background in terms of content creation, previous background in terms of these skills. If you have done YouTube before or if you have done videos before, you may have an easier time. But for most people, if you're starting up from scratch, expect that you'll create 1 video per week for about 6 months. And if you do that and you learn from those videos, you make great content, you definitely can expect to get clients in around that 6-month period. So definitely a longer learning curve. But having said that, the benefit of YouTube is that once you have built up your organic YouTube channel, it is something where you can generate clients for the long term coming forward. A little bit kind of how we covered with Twitter. It's a platform where you create a tweet, you create a post, right, and it goes away basically a couple hours later. Well, with YouTube, you can create a video and people will see that video if it's a good video, even a year later, 2 years later, 3 years later. A lot of our videos, an example, we created them a year ago, 2 years ago, and they're still getting views over on YouTube. So it's a platform where it does take a little bit more time to kind of get things ramped up, but at the same time, once you have it ramped up, it's a platform that can build a consistent real estate buyer, real estate seller lead pipeline for your business without you spending a single dollar. And the other benefit, of course, of that is that traffic quality is extremely good. So people, when they are on YouTube, oftentimes they have searched for something over on Google, or they have searched for something over on YouTube, and you kind of get a lot of higher quality of traffic because people are watching a TV, or if they're watching videos over on YouTube, their full focus is on that video. As compared to the way, as example, Instagram or as example, TikTok works, it's a scroll-based platform. You're scrolling through videos, you have a lot of videos that you're seeing, so a lot of the times the attention you actually get from the viewer is not as high compared to YouTube, where people are fully focused in on watching, let's say, 5-minute, 10-minute long video. So that's why we're going to categorize YouTube to the A category. So as far as the inputs, what you actually put in, and the outputs was what you generate. If you watch this over a year time frame, it's a platform that's extremely beneficial and can get you a lot of deals in the long term coming forward. Now, let's cover next advertising. So we have two different channels for advertising that we're going to rank. We're going to rank YouTube advertising, and we're also going to rank meta advertising. So meta advertising stands for Instagram and Facebook platforms. And with this advertising, obviously the biggest benefit is that you get access to all of these people on these platforms. Kind of how we just covered, Facebook is the most used platform for real estate. We also have Instagram, incredibly used platform. So we have direct access to all of this traffic right here. Now, also the benefit of Facebook and the meta ads is the fact that their algorithm is extremely good. They can find people very easily, and it's also extremely effective as far as the distribution of the ads goes, and it's also very quick to learn. So it's not something where you have to wait for a very long period of time before you start generating real estate buyer and real estate seller leads. So as far as social media platform advertising goes, Meta is definitely still one of the kings in this area. The only downside is, just like we covered in terms of the quality of the traffic you generate. So just like we covered with the organic side of social media, when you are trying to advertise over on Meta platforms, you are gonna have people coming in from, let's say, Instagram that are scrolling through TikToks, or you're gonna have people coming in from Facebook that are scrolling through the Facebook feed. And so because of that reason, the quality of the traffic is not necessarily as good, as high quality compared to, let's say, YouTube. But because of the cost, because of the ease of use, because of the just general excellence of this advertising platform, of course, we're gonna rank it to the S category. For real estate buyer and seller generation, it's still definitely the number one when it comes down to doing that. Especially when you talk about retargeting options, you can pull out a database of yours from your CRM, you can plug that right into over to Meta platforms, and you can target ads, you can target content going to your database right from the get-go. Now, let's cover YouTube advertising. And YouTube advertising is something that's a little bit more advanced. This is something that's a little bit more harder to do. If you're just starting out with ads, it's definitely harder to run YouTube advertisements. Now, having said that, with YouTube advertisements, it works in a very similar way as it works organically. So organically, when you create YouTube videos, right, it takes a longer time, but when you get those leads coming in from YouTube, those leads are high intent. They're ready to go, or they're very engaged, they're talking to you because they have seen you for a long period of time. They have watched videos from you, they know who you are, like they're just warm and ready to go. So obviously with YouTube leads, when you run paid advertising, it's a very similar process. People see a long video from you, people go through the funnel, they can get to know you a lot more, or again, they have been around the channel, been around your content for a little bit. So again, when you get a YouTube lead from advertising, it's a lot warmer compared to meta advertising. Now, the downside of YouTube is, again, the same as it is organically. So when you are looking at advertising on YouTube, you have to look at content creation as far as your video, as far as the way you say the words in the video, as far as the scripts you're using, all of these different things. As with meta advertising, you can just create a picture and a text-based post that can literally be copy-pasted from even a source. Let's say you have a coach or you have some platforms you can get these from. So it's a lot easier to get your ads to run over on Meta, but again, the downside is going to be the lead quality. So with YouTube, the benefit is, again, when you create something like that, it takes a little harder to get it to work, But when you do get it to work, it's something that it can get you leads for a very long period of time that are going to be qualified, that are going to be interested, that are going to be ready to go. So as far as advertising, these two platforms we're going to categorize to absolute S tier. So Meta ads and YouTube ads, both of them are incredibly effective platforms for advertising over on social media. But in general, in the world, when we look at advertising opportunities, there's billboard ads, there is postcards, there's mailers. When you just compare those things compared to these two platforms and the advanced AI that is running behind these platforms, and just general the options you have when you actually do this really, really well, these are opportunities that we have never had ever in the history of the world. So that's why both of these two platforms are going to categorize to the S tier. These are the absolute best advertising platforms for real estate seller and buyer lead generation online as of right now. Something to keep in mind is that we categorize these social media platforms based on the system's thinking. So we categorize these platforms based on, okay, if you put in 100 hours, how much do you generate in return as far as your output? How many real estate buyer clients do you generate? How many real estate seller clients do you generate? How many appointments do you generate? And what is your overall long-term return on the time that you have spent on the platform? And so because of that reason, we categorize Facebook personal profile, categorize Meta advertising and YouTube advertising to the S tier. These are the places where if you spend 100 hours to build your funnels properly or build your systems properly, or as an example on Facebook, if you spend 100 hours on that platform organically, these are the absolute best places to generate real estate buyers, sellers, and clients organically or through paid means over on social media. YouTube comes down to number 2. It's definitely a great platform, like we discussed, a little bit more time consuming, a little bit higher skill gap. And then we have B category over on Instagram, C category LinkedIn and TikTok, and lastly we have the X, formerly known as Twitter. So what are your thoughts on this video? Leave your thoughts on what is the best platform you tend to use yourself, and what is the best platform where you have seen yourself real estate buyer and seller clients coming in. So leave a comment below. I would like to hear your thoughts about your experience with social media.